It's deemed the greatest game of 2017, an absolute masterpiece, perfection, which exceeded every single expectation. This is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. By this point, there aren't many gamers that haven't tried Breath of the Wild, and if you haven't, then you owe yourself to try it. It's fantastic. I've played it through twice, and it certainly earns its accolades. So with 2 playthroughs incorporating all the DLC, that's 300 plus hours I've spent playing this game, and I loved every second of it. I was completely immersed, and I was just gutted when it ended. This game was nothing short of phenomenal moments, so here now on GavinchiTV, we're going to count down those top 5 Zelda Breath of the Wild moments. Remember, there are spoilers ahead. Let's get to it. Our 5th entry is the Master Sword and the Trial of the Master Sword. With almost every Zelda game, there is the Master Sword, and removing it, that satisfaction you get is fantastic. You have to make sure you have enough hearts, I think it's 13 to be exact, and you can finally remove the blade. Removing the Master Sword in any Zelda game is a pivotal moment, and Breath of the Wild, it's no different. Once you remove the Master Sword and return to the Critic Forest, you're then hit with a message, which leads to the trial of the sword. You're stripped of everything, like with Eventide Island, and these are 45 challenges you're presented with, and they will really test you, unless you can do it first time like me.
You're such a liar.
Just ignore her, ignore her. These trials have 3 stages, beginning, middle and final trials, and with each set, there's no checkpoints. If you die, it's back to the beginning. Every few stages there is a camp where you can cook, certain items are given to you and you can top up on fairies, but you have to make the most of them and make them count. The penalty for failure is steep, but at the same time that's its greatest attribute, that sense of accomplishment when you make it all the way to the end. You really have a major sense like you've achieved something great. As you progress further and further through the trials, it naturally gets harder and harder. So everything you've learned up to this point really gets tested. It's not just about running in head on, you have to be strategic and think about it. Because one wrong move, it's back to the drawing board and you're starting again. Overall, the Trial of the Master Sword was able to deliver a real feeling of challenge and dread, yet excitement and accomplishment if you were able to succeed. It wasn't just about being a brute, you had to be smart, clever, strategic in order to get through. This would test the skill of any gamer, and your reward was well worth it. Overall, the Master Sword and the Trial of the Master Sword gets our number 5 spot. Our 4th entry are the Divine Beasts. Each of the champions control a Divine Beast, and these are used to take down Calamity Ganon. But this doesn't go to plan, as Calamity Ganon takes over the Divine Beasts. So our job is to access the Divine Beasts and stop Calamity Ganon's corruption and restore the Divine Beast to form. Now I know technically I'm cheating with this entry, as there are in fact 4 Divine Beasts, but each Divine Beast is similar, so we're going to count it as one entry. And it's also my video. Once you're in the Divine Beast, you find the map room. From here it grants you access to a map which shows you the locations of 5 terminals. You have to access these 5 terminals to restore power. Now, from this map you can also control each of the Divine Beasts. This is where it got clever, because in certain situations you have to move or alter the layout of the Divine Beast in order to progress further or access a certain terminal. Now with every Zelda game there's temples, and the temples are fantastic, but we don't get them in Breath of the Wild. But what we do get are the Divine Beasts. They're almost the Breath of the Wild's equivalent to the temples. And you can't just run in blind or you end up nowhere. You've got to think about it. Do I move this? How do I get there? They're designed really well. Once you activate all 5 terminals, you're left with one remaining terminal, the main control unit. Once you activate this, you are hit with one of Ganon's evil entities. These are Calamity Ganon's scourges of the Divine Beasts. These are the ones who defeated the original champions. There are 4 blights, each for a Divine Beast, acting as a final area boss, and they all provide a decent challenge. And like the Divine Beasts themselves, you have to think about it, you can't just go in attacking blindly. Overall, I really enjoyed the Divine Beasts. They were Breath of the Wild's version of temples. They were clever, they were smart, they had a decent boss. Upon finishing it, you were greeted with the champion's spirit and rewarded with a decent gift. So overall, with everything the Divine Beasts had to offer, they earned themselves the number 4 spot. Our third entry is off the Champion's Ballad DLC. It is the Final Trial. The Final Trial acts as a Divine Beast as such, so it's not actually a Divine Beast, but the way it works, its mechanics and everything are. It's sort of a mashup, a mix of all challenges and shrines you faced up to this point, all coming together. So essentially it's like a big massive puzzle, a massive labyrinth as such, and we love that because it just gets your brain ticking. Of course, if you don't want your brain to tick, then you won't like it very much. This is essentially one huge mechanical system which needs to be all locked together in order to unlock certain areas. And like the Divine Beasts, it can also be altered to your advantage or rotated in this scenario. This comes down to activating 4 terminals in 4 specific areas and linking it all together. And as I progressed further and further trying to work it out, I was actually really impressed as it was actually really clever in the way it was done. With every terminal found, you would deactivate a locking point off the door. And with everything linked up and running properly, you could finally finish the mechanism and unlock the door. Now at the end of any shrine or trial in this game, you're always presented with a monk who identifies your true power as a hero. And you're always rewarded, but this time it was a little different. This completely surprised me and I didn't expect it at all. It was really exciting. This monk offered one final trial. Trial by combat. This is no easy challenge. The monk would have several tricks up his sleeve. Like Thunderblight Ganon, he would have rapid flash speed, can make multiple clones of himself, can grow massive in size. Overall, the final trial earns the 3rd spot quite easily by having an awesome puzzle / labyrinth which really was clever, and having a final boss battle which was one hell of a surprise. And your overall reward for finishing the final trial was absolutely awesome, so this easily earns the number 3 spot. This next entry happens over the entire duration of the game, so it might be cheating a little bit, but it's one of the best features of this game. That's right, we're talking about the 120 shrines of Zelda Breath of the Wild. As I mentioned earlier in regards to the Divine Beasts, Zelda Breath of the Wild doesn't contain any temples, so the Divine Beasts act as our temples, but the shrines are loads and loads of little mini temples chucked throughout the duration of the game. Other than certain strength encounters which are the same, every shrine is different. They provide a different task, a different challenge, or a different puzzle. And with each shrine you're rewarded a spirit orb, and these spirit orbs can increase your stamina wheel or the number of hearts that you possess. And finding the shrines themselves can be a challenge on its own. They are spread throughout the whole of Hyrule, and the map is massive. What makes conquering a shrine exciting as well is the way in which you tackle it. You don't necessarily have to finish it the way the developer has intended. It's about using your skill, your wits, your knowledge which you have picked up through the duration of the game. And finally, if you do conquer all 120 shrines hours and hours into the game, the payoff is worth it. Finding and conquering all 120 shrines of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a challenge in itself. Finding them, they are all separate challenges and they are a major part of the game, and you shouldn't even think about even going for Calamity Ganon without finding 120 of these or the Divine Beasts. As a result, they earn the number 2 spot. Our final entry is the Scourge of Hyrule Castle, Calamity Ganon. 100 years ago, Ganon attacked. The champions were slain, Link was defeated, but Zelda was able to use a divine power to seal Calamity Ganon within Hyrule Castle. This catastrophic event was called the Great Calamity. Over the next century, although imprisoned, Ganon took his time, draining Zelda's divine power to gain enough strength to break free from her seal. Over time, as he grew stronger, he spread his malice throughout Hyrule, and with Link being resuscitated at the Shrine of Resurrection, he entered a cocoon-like state to regain his physical form. This brings us to now. Calamity Ganon's reincarnation still isn't complete, but he has gained enough strength to break free from Zelda's grip and face us head to head. Now I'm hoping before you get to this point you've done everything. That's the 120 shrines, 4 divine beasts, the Champions Ballad DLC and the Trial of the Sword. Once all 4 of them are complete, then go to Calamity Ganon. I mean, when you finish Calamity Ganon, you've got all the Korok seeds, all the side missions. That's after. This here really is an exciting moment. Everything in the game has built up to this point. Hours and hours of gameplay have brought us to now. By freeing the divine beasts earlier on, the champions stayed true to their word and attacked Ganon right from the go, knocking off half his health. Now we have an actual battle with Calamity Ganon. You have to be very careful. He fires the laser beams just like the Guardians. He has a massive flame-lit Guardian sword. He has the ability to jump on the wall and has a second phase. He cannot be hurt at all while he has this outer shell around him. It's all about patience and timing and waiting for that prime opportunity to attack. This is even more of a challenge for those playing on Master Mode, because you'll be surprised how quickly Calamity Ganon regains his health. Just make sure you're good at deflecting those beams. With Calamity Ganon defeated, you're walked outside with a message received from Zelda. She informs you that Ganon has given up on reincarnation and assumed his pure rage form. Now we have a battle with Dark Beast Ganon. For this battle you're granted your trusty steed and entrusted with the Bow of Light from Zelda. In what's considered Ganon's original form, you have to watch out for him stomping on you and a massive purple beam. Zelda will aid in this battle as she will use her magic, creating yellow glowing sigils, which you must attack with the Bow of Light. This would eventually lead to one final sigil. Once this sigil has been fired upon, it would put Dark Beast Ganon down. With this, Zelda would finally reveal herself to seal Ganon away. Overall, I thought this was a fantastic moment and a great end boss. More so on Calamity Ganon than Dark Beast Ganon, but they were both just as good. The way Breath of the Wild works, everything building up to this point, a great story was told, and it genuinely made you feel that Calamity Ganon really was this entity of pure evil. Overall, this moment was delivered fantastically. It really gave you a sense of emotion of good overcoming evil. It was a fantastic final boss, a brilliant challenge, and overall my top moment from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That brings us to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please remember to like, share, subscribe and tell people about it. I'd be very grateful. Leave comments below. Let me know what else you'd like me to do next. Pick a game and I'll see if I've got it and get round to it. I've got a selection. And if you got time, please remember to check out some of my other videos. The subscribe button's down there and I think there's 3 around me. Give them a whirl, see what you think. You might enjoy, you might not, you don't know until you try. And I'll see you next time.